And we are back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for the Champions League quarter-final second legs, live from my hotel room in Portugal. We may be on holiday, but I'm still going to be providing you the best possible content I can for you this week. My notes are on my phone, so if that is not worth a like on this video, I don't know what is. I will be bringing you all 3 European videos for you this week as normal from Portugal, but I will be back at home in time for my Premier League and La Liga predictions for you next weekend. As for today, once again, we are going to be talking about the 4 Champions League quarter-final second legs taking place this week. You'll see after last week, we got 3 out of 4 correct, which I'm pretty pleased with, considering the only one that I actually got wrong was the Inter Milan Bayern Munich one, which ended in a last-minute winner for Inter Milan. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. But without any further ado, let's just get straight into it. The opening game tomorrow night sees Aston Villa taking on Paris Saint-Germain back at Villa Park after a game where I thought Villa did it as best as they possibly could. Just unfortunately for them, that last-minute goal from Nuno Mendes, making it 3-1 to Paris Saint-Germain, just makes this task now a whole lot more difficult. But like I said, they had their moments. They played really well. They went ahead early through Morgan Rogers, but just unbelievable football once again from Paris Saint-Germain, proving too much for Aston Villa in the home leg. Can they now do it back at Villa Park? What I would say is they did win at the weekend. They made a fair few changes, not too many, but a fair few changes for their game against Southampton at the weekend. They won 3-0 despite Marco Asensio missing 2 penalties in that game as well. And they also managed to come out of that game with no injuries whatsoever. As for PSG, the French FA decided to give them the weekend off. So they are completely fresh and raring to go for this second leg, which, if anything, just gives them even more of an advantage coming into this second leg without the 3-1 lead in the first place. Neither team has any suspensions coming into this one. Do Aston Villa have a chance of getting through? Of course they do. I think it's been made a lot harder by the fact that PSG did score that 3rd goal, though. And I think with Villa having to go for it, I just think it favours PSG's brilliance on the break even more. So I'm going to go for back-to-back PSG wins here, and I'm going to have them making it into the semi-finals. 2-1, I'm going for Paris Saint-Germain. On to the second game tomorrow night then, and it's Borussia Dortmund taking on Barcelona, a 4-0 victory for Barcelona at home. Essentially, this game is already up and done. All 4 of the Barcelona front 3 involved in the goals. 1 for Rafinha, 2 for Lewandowski, 1 for Lamine Yamal. They are playing some brilliant stuff at the moment. They won again at the weekend. They were, of course, able to play a stronger side at the weekend because this game is essentially already over. They beat Leganes 1-0 in La Liga. Borussia Dortmund, to be fair, drew 2-2 away at Bayern Munich and actually came away from that game with no injuries whatsoever. So they're going to feel a little bit more confident coming into this game. More on Bayern Munich in a moment, of course. For Barcelona, they didn't actually come out of their 1-0 win over Leganes unscathed, with Balde, the left-back, picking up a hamstring injury, which will more than likely see him miss the remainder of this tournament. So even though everyone expects Barcelona to get through from this position, that injury could prove critical in the semi-final and the final stages should Barcelona get there. Ultimately, this really isn't much of a game to talk about. No suspensions for either side coming into it. I think everyone expects Barcelona to progress. It's just whether or not they're going to win on the night. I think they will, even if they do change their lineup with important games in La Liga coming up at the weekend as well. They're not going to want to risk any possibility of Dortmund coming back. So I'm going for a 3-1 victory for Barcelona. But we'll see. You've got to be a little bit more hesitant because, like I say, if Barca do change the majority of their starting lineup, given the fact they've got a 4-0 lead, Dortmund, of course, very strong side at home as well. We shall see, but I'm going for Barcelona. And that then takes us on to Wednesday night where we have Inter Milan taking on Bayern Munich. We might as well start off with Bayern Munich because, of course, as we just said, they did play Borussia Dortmund at the weekend and it was only a 2-2 draw at home. It's just not happening for them at the moment. Obviously, they thought they pulled themselves back into it with a few minutes to go with Thomas Müller, the veteran Thomas Müller, who I think is being incredibly insulted by Bayern by not being offered a new deal. He pulled them back to 1-1 after the early goal from Inter Milan. Brilliant goal from Inter Milan. The back heel from Thuram, the finish from Martinez. Wonderful stuff. I did say I think Inter Milan should be considered the favourites for that first leg. That, of course, then proved to be the case when 2 minutes after Thomas Müller's equaliser, Fratesi made it 2-1 to Inter Milan. They then backed that up with a 3-1 victory at the weekend with basically a fully rotated lineup. They did pick up an injury in that match, with Zalewski picking up an injury, but there was no real chances that he was going to be playing in this game anyway. He quite literally played 1 minute in the first leg against Bayern Munich. So I don't think that's much of a major loss for them. Obviously, for Bayern, they've managed to come away from their game with Dortmund unscathed, but there is no chance of any of the players that missed the first leg coming back for this second leg. And with Inter already ahead, with them being at home, I don't think many people are going to be too surprised when I think that they are going to take this second leg as well. I'm going for a 2-0 victory to Inter Milan. And then we end where it all began last week with Real Madrid taking on Arsenal. 2 Declan Rice free kicks and a brilliant finish from Moreno as well, giving Arsenal a 3-0 lead to take to Spain in this second leg. Can they manage to hold it on? Because I've seen a lot of people chatting both here in Portugal and at home before I left that still think Real Madrid are going to pull this back. I would be shocked if they did. I really would. I just don't think they're playing that well at the moment. I spoke about it last week. I said Arsenal would win last week. I didn't think they'd win this well. If anything, this was actually my worst prediction of last week because I said this would be a very narrow game with Arsenal edging it. They absolutely obliterated Real Madrid. If it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois, this would probably be a 4-5 or maybe even 6-0 scoreline for Arsenal, given how well they played. At the weekend, Arsenal, again, who rested multiple players with this second leg in mind, could only manage a 1-1 draw at home to Brentford. Real Madrid could only manage a 1-0 away win to relegation-threatened Alaves, with Kylian Mbappe getting sent off in that match. So it's just not really happening for them at the moment. Speaking of red cards, Camavinga, of course, picked up a red card in the game against Arsenal last week, which means he is going to be missing this one with suspension, although at least Tchouameni, who he came in for due to his suspension, is going to be back and available for this second leg. Do I think Real Madrid are going to progress from this position? Absolutely not. Do I think they're going to win on the night? Potentially. The only thing that I think, though, is that I just can't see Arsenal not scoring. I really don't. I think Arsenal, the way they played in that first leg, if they do anything like they did in that first leg, they're going to score goals in this match. So I think with Real Madrid, again, having to go for it, I think it suits Arsenal just to sit back, wait for the counters, get the ball to Saka, get the ball to Martinelli, and cause Real Madrid problems on the break. Surely Arsenal have enough to take this in terms of the actual tie. I'm not confident they're going to get a win here, though, but I'm also not confident Real Madrid are going to get the win either. They're not playing well, especially at home over the last couple of weeks as well. I'm going for a 1-1 draw to round off these Champions League predictions. And that is going to be it. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and let me know anything you think I've missed regarding any injuries and stuff as well. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back again tomorrow morning for my Europa League predictions, and then Wednesday morning for my Europa Conference League predictions. Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow.